workers to protect them from COVID-19.
All right, and from the GMA, let's get Dr. Tom Shieh on, and hey, congrats on that donation there, Doc. Good morning.
Yeah, good morning.
So let's just catch up. Haven't talked to you. It's been a minute. I know you're busy. Where are we? Just real quick, status on moving the child maternal health ward out of GMH, the COVID hospital, to the COVID-free hospital at GRMC. Any progress on that, Doc?
Chris, you always ask me that same question.
How long have we been talking about that?
Yeah,
I'm
consistent, Doc.
It's been a few weeks, I think.
Yeah, let me tell you something, okay? What's reassuring is that the mother and the babies are still at GMH, okay? So that tells you something. The projection that they put out, it's all wrong, because the only projection that you need to look at is the mother and babies at GMH, okay? It hasn't moved. So what does that tell you? We're going to be okay, right? Because mother and children are still at GMH. That's one big indication that GMH is okay, because the bed count is low, okay? Low means that the COVID-19 hospitalization rate is low. So that's good. That's good for Guam. The ICU, the ER staff, the doctors there are doing an excellent job. So that's the reassuring thing for me and the island. So, the governor can project 3,000, 5,000, 6,000 deaths as the worst case scenario if they want. But, the projections that they're using are based on Wuhan or big city projections, okay, with high density. And I heard that they compared it to Singapore. That's like comparing apples and oranges, because Singapore has 6 million people in the same geographic location or the same size as Guam. I mean, talk about density there. If you ever watched that movie, Crazy Rich Asians, where they have all the towering,
right,
2,000, 3,000 people in one single building, those are the density that we're talking about in Singapore. So you're comparing apples and oranges. Certainly, I think it's a good exercise if they want to do that. So call it an exercise for that matter. But when you put up projections like that, that's really not reality. Okay, so I know that the beds capacity on Guam right now, I think we're way below that we anticipated. The projections they had, by now we should have about over 100 COVID-19 patients at GMH, and we don't have that. So I think that the job is done with GMH. The doctors and nurses are doing an excellent job with Jolene again. I think they should be applauded for that. I think what they should do now is to plan on a way to get out and recover. So that's what they need to do. I would suggest keeping the gates closed still, because you don't want any new viruses coming in. But I do still agree with the lockdown, but I think the lockdown should have been done when I wrote the letter back in March 17. We've done a good lockdown March 17. What is it today? Today is March 16th, right?
April 16th, yeah.
April.
April 16th. I'm stuck in March. Oh my goodness. Time is moving so slow. And I think the people of Guam is getting anxious. Okay? So we need to reassure them, how do we get out of this? But I think the administration right now is still prolonging this, but we need to look at the realities that we can't be locked down forever. So we need to start planning on how do we get out of this lockdown, rather than saying we got to keep going. Our projection is 6,000 deaths or whatever it is. That's good to do the exercise. But right now, I think the bed capacity is good. The Navy, the Army, or the Air Force is jumping in, which is good. They get tents set up. That's great. But I think the key here is really not prolonging the process as into June or July or August, or waiting for the next vaccine to come out. I think the key here is to plan the recovery. And how do we do that? The key here is, to me, is to be watching the gates of the airport. Okay? We hear the Philippines is going to open up their airlines again. I know the governor has always said she can't, stop the airlines from flying. Quarantine is good. Maybe, start getting testing up there. I saw passengers get off the plane, test them right there at site. That may be the gateway to keeping the virus from coming to Guam. That's where it came from, that airport. So I think that's where they need to set up their shop. That's my opinion.
Interesting opinion, Doc. So are you basically saying that Guam is going to be the first place in the world to beat COVID-19? Is that what you're kind of saying?
Well, if you look at the hospital curve, if you look at the hospitalization curve on Guam, it's been pretty flat. It's been pretty flat. It's going downwards. And I pray daily that it does that. That's the curve that I'm following. And that reads the positives. Because, even the governor's office has said, assume everybody's positive. If we're going to assume everybody's positive, then why are we keep testing, right? So we know the clusters are there. And if people comply with stay at home, don't go out, if you don't have to, and I think that's ingrained in the people already. You're going to have stragglers, okay? And I agree with some people that's protesting that they don't want to stay home. But we can't speak for everybody. Not everybody's going to follow those orders. So I would agree with Senator Nelson and the governor to continue the lockdown, which they should have done it a long time ago. They wouldn't have been displaced at the very beginning. We would have been out of here. But I think we need to continue that for the next 2 weeks minimum, and then by the end of the month reassess. If the hospital curve continues to stay flat, then you can start loosening it up a little bit. But continue the mask, continue the social distancing. Rather than 6 feet, maybe go 8 feet. And we require that. Let's take a step further. If you want to be cautious, let's do that. But I think we need to start planning on how to get out of this rather than, hey, let's prolong it. Our projection is saying this. But there's no model in the world that can project what Guam is like. Our island is flat. We're not a towering island like New York City or Singapore or Wuhan, okay? So we need to take those things into consideration. I think they know that, but I don't know. Maybe they're doing it because of federal funding. You got to follow the money, where this is going, because perhaps this is what FEMA wants to do. If we don't give them the projections, they won't give us money. Maybe then tell us that. That's okay. But I think we need to look at reality and look at the curve at the hospital and look at the bed capacity. Because right now we're over. We have a lot of beds, so we need to make sure that we take care of our own patients that need to take care of, from the very, very beginning. Chronic illnesses and stuff like that. We need to continue to do that.
But Doc,
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
The other thing that I want to talk about too is that memo that came out that want to confiscate everybody's mail for items. I disagree with that. That to me that's a federal crime if you're going to start digging into people's mail and confiscating things. I mean, it's not a contraband. If it's a contraband, you declare it as illegal. If you're going to declare a product as illegal, then declare that as illegal and go ahead and confiscate it. But if it's not illegal, don't take it away, because there's certain reasons why people are ordering stuff.
Well, I wanted to ask, because the Physicians Advisory Group, Dr. Felix Cabrera, just the other day was saying that, we're still not out of the woods. This is just the beginning. This can come in waves. And so...
when I first interviewed with you, I think when I was in Hawaii, or, one of the reporters there, I said that this thing was coming waves. Just like everything I said, they're repeating the same words. The invisible enemy, the war and virus, lockdown. Those are the things I already documented way back in March. So these are not words that's new to me or to the people. The wave effect, like I said, the key is going to be at the airport, not really the community. Once you have a good lockdown, you isolate the virus, you contain it, the island is going to be okay, in my opinion, if you have a good lockdown, because you're going to starve the virus. But what's going to cause the wave is the new viruses coming in, okay? And that's at the gate of the airport.
All right.
Thanks, Dr. Shieh. Just, hey, that was, I'm processing everything you just said, and thank you again for your time, and we'll reach out to you tomorrow, maybe next week, to catch up on I got to ask you the same question again next week.
You're so funny.
And just looking out for the
right?
pregnant ladies.
That's the gauge.
Yeah.
If they're talking about, hey, we need more beds, we're in a dire situation. We're not out of the woods here. Well, then why are the mom and the babies are still at GMH? See, that's my biggest gauge.
I'm not sure if I detect a little sarcasm here, because you're masking it pretty well.
A little bit, but you started it, Chris.
You started it.
I started. Okay, Dr. Shieh.
Thanks, Dr. Shieh.
Wash your hands.
Bye-bye.
Okay, 6:51. Hey, I just got a
Dr. Sunshine. We've got Dr. Doom. We've got Dr.
Dr.
Sunshine.
Doom. You're funny.
You're funny.
Yeah, so we are getting Dr. Doomsday on at 7:45. Dr. Cabrera. No, man, and it's interesting that we have this wide spectrum of opinions from the